Hey, what's up? Welcome back to West Seattle. We're gonna have a fun one today, kicking off December with the new Next Factor from Storm. Now this is a blast from the past, but with some modern upgrades. We'll talk about that shortly. Comparing up against the Next Factor, we got my current favorite, I think maybe in this slot, I don't know yet, but it's the Vivo, the Virtual Energy Blackout, also from Storm. Out on the lanes, not typically the type of condition that I would be throwing either of these two balls, but that's what we got, so we're gonna see what they can do on this. It's a house shot, but it's fresh oil, it's cold outside, so we'll find out together how this goes. Now I haven't thrown any shots on this lane yet. I did warm up with this ball, the Vivo, on the lane to the left. So this is as fresh as it's gonna get. Vivo, tried and trusted the last 2 years or so. Super clean, again, clean meaning that it gets through the front part of the lane easy. We'll talk a little more about that shortly. We'll just throw a shot and see how fresh lane 24 is. Yeah, it's pretty fresh out there. I mean, so fresh that I saw it go and go and go. That skid to hook phase looked like it went on for miles. But that's okay. It did do Vivo things. Got back to the pocket just fine. Now, of course, I'm gonna have to be using my West Seattle chamois on every single shot. These are both highly polished. They're both pearl balls. And they're both with a design intent to get down there easy. So we don't really need extra oil helping that process out. Let's throw another one. Let's see what we got with this one. Yeah, so Vivo, absolutely one of my favorite balls of the last couple of years. It's not even close. So much so that I have a couple stored away for rainy days. We get those in Seattle. It, like the Next Factor, is kind of a blast from the past with some modern tweaks. Inside there's a core that won a lot everywhere. But outside is a black pearl REX cover. So stronger than the original Virtual Energy, meant for today's lane conditions. So it can handle oil a little easier. There's still some traction, but make no mistake, this ball is very clean. It has no problem getting through the front part of the lane, getting down the lane, and then responding to friction in a strong way. Now with a ball like this, and presumably a ball like the Next Factor, you're gonna hear buzzwords here and there, like quick off the spot. So if you aren't sure what that means, it means that as it gets to the end of the oil, once it changes direction, it's a quick change of direction. It's not a slow arcing change of direction. And while it's a little difficult to see this ball have that on fresh oil, like we have out here, when the lanes do start to break down, the Vivo goes. So the last shot I actually moved in to. Again, this is fresh oil, it can still recover fine. I was kind of inside too, I think, with that last shot, so let's move another 2, see if it can still recover. Okay, so there's its limit. Again, not quite the optimal oil conditions for me today throwing these types of bowling balls, but we can still see what these balls are made of. The Vivo, for me, makes lane breakdown when friction starts to pop up more and more. Makes it easier and easier to deal with. It loves it, it eats it up. Let's move back to where we were before that one. All right, so as you can see, the Vivo does all the right things. What I love about it is I don't have to try to make the hook with my hand as much. The strong core inside takes care of that in the middle and the back of the lane pretty good, so that all I have to do is kind of stand in the right place once the lanes start to break down. Speaking of, that was a little grabby for me. Kind of overreacted. It's pretty high on the head pin. Somehow got some stuff out, but that's Vivo. All right, so with the Vivo, outside of that weak limit testing 10 pin, it's throwing a lot of strikes. But I told you how I use this ball in my arsenal, but there can be some other use cases too, depending on your style or where you bowl. Talk about that after the shot here. All right, so why did I choose the Vivo to go up against the Next Factor? Outside of some strong nostalgia vibes, and outside of the colors both being black, they are both asymmetric pearls. They are both with an engineering intent to get down the lane with ease. And my Vivo is kind of getting some age, so it might be time to find its replacement. Is the Next Factor that? Well, let's throw one more and then we'll find out for ourselves. Norm, just as I'm switching the Next Factor, you gotta give me one of those dirty dogs. Get out of here. All right, so time has come. There's no oil on this to wipe off yet, so fresh Next Factor. I'll tell you what too, before we throw this first shot from, say, the same place I just threw that last Vivo shot, this ball smells really good. Dark berry is I think what the fragrance name is, but this is a good one. Okay. Now, kind of hard to tell from that first shot, but I think what I could see is that skid to hook phase, so skid, then hook, then roll. That first phase seemed like it was a little later down lane, and that would probably make sense given that this ball has a much higher RG. Now, when you're looking at numbers of a bowling ball, you're gonna see RG, you're gonna see differential, and with asymmetric balls, you're gonna see PSA or the intermediate differential. What are those numbers? We're gonna talk about that. But let's square up one board to the right, throw another one on the Next Factor. So I think off the top here, this ball seems to be getting down the lane longer. Again, that higher RG is definitely going to contribute to that. But what is RG? The radius of gyration. Gyration kind of means spinning around, and a radius is from kind of the center of me to the end of me here. So from the end of my fingers to the center of me, that's a radius. You have two radii, that's a diameter. Now this ball's RG, this ball's radius, has its arm out quite a bit further than a lot of other asymmetric balls. And like an ice skater spinning with their arms out, this ball is spinning up at a slower rate compared to, say, the Vivo, which has a smaller RG, figure skater with their arms a lot more in, spinning faster. So pretty big difference between the two weight blocks. Let's square up, meaning moving out a couple boards, knowing that this doesn't spin up as fast, and then we'll talk about what differential is. All right, so probably around there is where I would use this ball on fresh oil like this, but probably when I would use this ball is when the lanes start to transition. Again, transition meaning going from one thing to another, when the lanes are going from fresh oil to not as much fresh oil, the hook starts to elevate. That's when a ball like this is gonna shine for me. Well, I think that was sort of the spot to stand. I'm actually gonna move back 2 left, kind of slow the speed down and see what that does. Yeah, okay, so there is another use case scenario for you using a ball like the Next Factor. Even on fresh oil, if you are a player that has slower speed, or you are a bowler that bowls at a center with older lanes, so more age and friction just already built into the lanes, this could work on fresh oil. Or maybe you're a bowler that has teammates that use bowling balls with a lot of surface and just beat up the front parts of the lane pretty quick. Get yourself a Next Factor and you won't have to worry about that. Wow, that one murdered a 7-pin. Looked like a ninja jumping off the wall and roundhousing its face. Okay, anyway, so differential. This ball has medium-high differential, and in bowling ball land, what that means for you is the weight blocks flare potential. So this one has a fair bit of flare potential. It's gonna have a fair bit of fresh cover touching the lane at all times. That's good for traction. It's not massively high, so it kind of complements that higher RG. There's one more number though to talk about, and that's that intermediate diff, which we'll get to after this one. That was a garbage shot. Just trying to slow it down, probably a little too much. And I don't think I need to slow it down that much. This one is good. You know, it's more different than maybe I would have thought compared to the Vivo. I mean, it makes sense on paper. The numbers are pretty different. But you know, shiny black bowling balls, both pearl, both asymmetric, might have you wonder initially if there's too much samesies overlap going on. With these two, there is not. This one is distinctly different. And so intermediate differential in bowling ball land, that is basically how asymmetric is this core? And that's gonna tell you how hard this ball stands up down lane. Is it gonna be more of a stand up and go forward? Or is it gonna be more round, continuous? Well, this one is kind of on the medium side. That was pretty good. And so what that means is you got kind of higher medium flare potential. You have kind of medium asymmetry. You have an RG that spins up a lot slower before it goes. So one last component to talk about. This one has R3S Pearl cover stock. R3S is sort of that next step in evolution past the tried and true long-standing R2S that we've seen on lots of really good things like the High Road Pearl. So a little stronger in that regard, but still a lot cleaner than a lot of other Pearl covers. Norm, whoa, Norm. Nope. Because that 7-pin knew what was coming for it. So again, cleaner, meaning that it's getting through the front part of the lane without as much early read, without as much early traction. That's R3S compared to REX Pearl on the Vivo, which has a little more teeth. So that's what this ball is built for. Not reading friction too early. It deals with friction in a very smart, powerful way, but it wants it to be there first. So know that as you're trying to look at this ball and trying to figure out where this can fit in your bag. I mean, it's got a really good spot in mind because I don't have anything like this. fact, I was just at a tournament down in Portland this last weekend. Park Lanes in Hillsboro. You have a great center, Park Lanes, and ooh, your lanes are toasty. Even on fresh oil, your center appears to me to have a lot of friction. In the front part of the lane, on the edges of the lane, down lane. And so I kind of found it difficult to deal with for a little bit. A ball like this would have made that way easier. All right, we'll throw one or two more and we'll call it good. Norm, come back out. All right, you can stay for just a sec. We're getting some interesting strikes here. All right, Norm, let me have one last good one. All right, so the next factor from Storm, a long-awaited sequel to the original X Factor from, what, 20-ish years ago? Is this different enough from the other shiny, polished bowling balls out there right now? And yes, I do know that there are a lot of them. But the answer is yes, this is very different. And it's that super high RG mixed with that kind of medium intermediate diff. You don't see that ever. And with a very clean cover, this ball is meant to get down there effortlessly. I've never had a ball, especially asymmetric, that could do that. So this just filled that spot in my bag for the very first time. Super excited about that. All right, let's send us home. Can't do much better than that. That's the next factor. The first ball from Hank Boomershine out of his new R&D department. Thumbs up, Hank. That is all I have for this one. Hey, like and subscribe. Really appreciate that. Again, it lets us know what more of something to make, what less of something to make. So appreciate the feedback. Welcome to December. We'll see you in the next one.